and welcome everyone. Thank you for spending an hour or so with us today to learn more about NetSuite and how you can improve efficiency with our advanced manufacturing solution. Again, my name is Mark Leno. I'm Senior Industry Principal for Manufacturing here at NetSuite. And with me today is John Doherty. John is a Senior Solution Consultant and one of our solution experts on our manufacturing product, and will be leading us later today through a demonstration in just a few moments here. So our agenda today, I will start out by giving a brief introduction to NetSuite as well as an overview of our manufacturing solution. I'm then going to hand things over to John, who's going to spend the majority of our time today demonstrating the NetSuite Advanced Manufacturing Solution. After that, I've got a few customer case studies I'm going to walk us through and highlight how a few of our NetSuite customers are achieving success with NetSuite manufacturing. And then finally, we will leave a few minutes at the end for Q&A. And in the event that there are more questions than we can get to, we will make sure we get you a personal response to your question after the webinar. So we work with a lot of manufacturers here at NetSuite, both customers as well as companies that are considering replacing their current ERP systems with NetSuite. And we see several key themes in terms of the state of manufacturing and the state of business today. The first is companies are operating in more of a startup state of mind now. Even the more traditional manufacturers are starting to think this way. And by that we mean they're being more innovative, more dynamic in changing their business models around and doing more with less. So they need to be nimble to take advantage of the opportunities in the marketplace today. And second, we see that those opportunities are becoming more global every day. So customers, suppliers, logistics providers, internal operations, all are starting to be more global, and companies more and more are operating around the world. So today's manufacturer needs a system that can support that global emphasis so that they can grow and evolve. Companies today need to be more responsive to change. So whether that's due to increasing customer demands, cost pressures from offshore competitors, or maybe the rapidly changing regulatory environment that exists in manufacturing today, our customers and prospects need to be more responsive and flexible and have the ability to respond to that change. Fourth, companies are beginning to realize that the power of data and the power of data aggregation, so sometimes this is referred to as big data or Internet of Things would be an example of the enormous amounts of data that are available now. So manufacturers are realizing that that data and ability to aggregate and analyze it can be a corporate asset, can be a competitive advantage, or it might even be an extension of their product offering. So, for example, a maker of industrial machinery might actually have a product offering related to data and being able to analyze and pull data from the operating conditions of that equipment. And so that kind of leads us then into the fifth point here, which every company either is or is considering how they can be a cloud company. So that might be everything from, thinking about how cloud systems can help manage a company's business. But again, back to that example of equipment data, maybe the cloud is part of the data or is part of the product offering moving forward for a manufacturer. So we're starting to see where the lines between a manufacturing company and a software company are actually starting to blur as the cloud evolves. So, of course, NetSuite is uniquely positioned to help companies and help manufacturers make this transition to the cloud. NetSuite was founded in 1998 and as the first cloud ERP system. And since then, we've grown rapidly and dynamically to the point where we now have almost 5,000 employees and over $700 million in revenue in 2015. So we're growing by 30% year over year for the last 3 years. And so what this means is while we will continue to innovate and be number one in cloud ERP, we also have the breadth of resources to help execute on that vision. We're a proven, reliable, and scalable company and software platform. Trusted by over 30,000 organizations globally. And so some of those customers are large enterprises and global leaders in their industries, like Shaw Floors, for example, which I'll tell you a little bit more about later on in our webinar. Lots of our customers are startups or next-generation disruptors who are changing the way that consumers and businesses buy and use goods and services. And of course, a large segment of the organizations running NetSuite are manufacturers. And I'll drill into a couple more of these again later on when we talk about some of our case studies. So why do today's manufacturers choose NetSuite? First and foremost, NetSuite is an ERP system designed for modern businesses. It is a true cloud solution, scalable and secure, with no version lock. So, problems of on-premise systems of the past with upgrades and that sort of thing, that just is not an issue for a modern ERP system like NetSuite. We are built to support global operations, so multi-company, multi-currency, multi-language, and embedded mobile tools for things like collaboration. Second, with NetSuite comes a built-in platform that allows you to flexibly deploy NetSuite software to meet the needs of your business. So whether that's customizing the system to suit your needs, or whether it's integrating with other third-party systems that you may need to, that's all part of the platform that NetSuite was built upon. This platform is also available to a network of third-party application solution providers that have solutions that further extend the capabilities of NetSuite. Third, NetSuite was built on top of a unified data model, which means we can truly develop deploy a single source of truth and business intelligence for all. So whether that's self-service reporting for your users, or another example being our rich user experience with built-in dashboards and key performance indicators. NetSuite is truly a single source of truth for your business data. NetSuite has embedded commerce capabilities, so whether you have a traditional inside or field sales force, whether you have a B2B or B2C e-commerce website, or even a retail in-store channel, you can provide your customers with a seamless buying experience without third-party solutions. And of course, NetSuite is built for manufacturing, which is really where we will focus the rest of our time today. NetSuite includes a comprehensive set of core functionality to support today's manufacturers. So everything from over on the left-hand side of the screen here, product data management and manufacturing management, moving on to sales and order management and customer relationship management, after-sales service and support, moving over to the right with procurement and supply chain management and warehouse management and logistics and shipping, and of course, a best-in-class financial management system that really is the core of NetSuite ERP. It's an exciting time to be in manufacturing here at NetSuite, and some of you may be aware and others not, but 2 weeks ago we announced the acquisition of iQity Solutions cloud business. So this acquisition extends NetSuite's leadership position in cloud ERP for manufacturing and represents a continuing significant commitment to our solutions for manufacturers. Now, in reality, iQity is not new to NetSuite. Since 2012, they've been a key solution partner and built the advanced manufacturing solution on the NetSuite platform. So it looks and feels like NetSuite and leverages all the key tools and features of NetSuite for ease of use and ease of implementation. The NetSuite Advanced Manufacturing Solution extends our core manufacturing solutions in these key areas. So additional granularity in defining products and the manufacturing process, additional features for production control and dispatch management, finite scheduling and capacity planning, quality and inspection management, additional tools for shop floor data collection such as barcoding, touch devices, and handhelds. And of course, since the solution was built on the NetSuite platform, you can leverage NetSuite reporting and analytics for additional reporting and business intelligence on your shop floor data. So at this point, I would like to hand it over to John Doherty, who will lead us through a demonstration of some of these advanced manufacturing capabilities. John?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. And thanks, everyone. I'd like to echo Mark's sentiments for joining us for the next hour or so. So before I actually go into the product, I want to have Mark just transition to the next slide. I want to focus in on the 5 core strengths of the advanced manufacturing suite. And like Mark mentioned, this allows us to take the core manufacturing functionality a lot of folks on the phone may be running today and then take it to the next level. And there are really 5 core strengths I'm going to show you today of the advanced manufacturing application. And they start from the left all the way to the right. And just reading these off real quick. So one of the first ones we're going to talk about is finite scheduling. You know, how do we take all of our demand and schedule that, and not only schedule it, but also do that at the most optimum levels and the most efficient levels. And those sales order demands can come from quite a few pieces. Like Mark mentioned, you know, our e-commerce functionality, sales orders could come through e-commerce. They could also come through electronic data interchange or EDI, or someone could manually just put those sales orders in. So how do we effectively and efficiently schedule those work orders through finite scheduling capabilities? The next area we're going to key in on is how do we, you know, once we have that statement of demand, how do we make sure that we have enough capacity within our shop floor to meet that demand? You know, are we going to run over? Where are the potential bottlenecks within our capacity plan and within our facilities? So how do we, you know, recognize that and then make that, visually, represent that visually to the user so they can actually make those decisions on what to do and how to run that efficiently through the plant? The third area, or the core strength of advanced manufacturing piece, is the shop floor execution piece. And Mark touched upon this a little bit. We're going to go in and show you various ways to actually record production uptime, downtime, the production results, the quality control results, which is the next block over. And there's a couple different methods. We're going to show you the touchpad functionality. We're also going to show you the barcode functionality for getting those transactions in very quickly within the application. The fourth area over is the embedded quality control processes, and this is in a couple different areas within the application. Not only do we handle the manufacturing or the in-process quality control pieces very well, but we also allow you to do receiving. So if you have purchase orders out there and you need to do quality control results and processes against purchase orders, we also handle that. And a big part of that is once those results are in there, how do we then report upon it, which leads us to our 5th block. So, you know, not only do we have all this information that Mark mentioned, but, you know, easily going into the application, but how do we easily get it back out and report upon it, take a look at that, and make good business decisions? So those are the 5 key strengths of the advanced manufacturing application we're going to show you. So at this point, Mark, I think we can go ahead and turn it over so I can start to get into the application and show you these 5 core areas. So one of the first things you're going to notice here on the core dashboard here from NetSuite is this advanced manufacturing functionality is now built directly within the application or embedded within the application. And one of the first areas I want to talk about is our finite scheduling functions and how does that, how are those rendered to the user and what functionality do you get at your fingertips? So I'm going to start out, what I want to do is I want to start out and show you these. There's 2 work orders I've actually placed within the application. So the first work order I'm going to pull up is this work order 409. And one thing I want to show you here on the very bottom, I want to point out, notice what the production start date is on this work order 409. It's for the 14th of March. So whenever you place a brand new work order within the application, the scheduling engine is running behind the scenes and actually is going to slot these work orders into the production plan based upon our capacity levels that we have. So this work order 409 has a production start date of 3/14. And as soon as you click the Save button, what will happen is the scheduling engine is going to run, and it's going to come back and give you a planned start time. And you're going to notice that this planned start time for this work order, based upon a quantity of 10, is the start time is going to be 8 a.m. on the 14th, and it's going to end on 3:15 at 10 a.m. also. The reason being is it's going to take us 10 hours to produce this work order. So we actually do a piece per hour. So if you take that calculation, you're going to notice this first work order starts at 8 a.m. and finishes up at 10 a.m. If I transition over to the second work order we have in the system, which is 410, you're going to notice that that work order also has the same planned start date of 3/14, But if we come down underneath, when we click the Save button, you're going to notice that the system automatically, based upon the scheduling engine running in the background, is going to then take that and slot that, and you're going to now notice that the planned start time for that second work order is not until 10 a.m. on the 15th. And then you'll also notice that this is also for a quantity of 10, so this is going to go 10 more hours out, and we're not going to finish that work order till 12 p.m. on the 16th. So, key functionality here where the finite scheduling engine is running in the background, we can take these work orders, and then the scheduling engine is going to efficiently and optimally schedule these work orders based upon our capacity. So that's step number one of our finite capacity functionality. The second piece is underneath finite scheduling is the ability to actually take a look at those work orders and manage those work orders. So underneath this work order management, I can come in here on a work center by work center basis. So if I take one of my work centers and I want to just change the view to a weekly view, so we're going to take a look at this week that we're in, and we can go ahead and list those work orders out. And you're going to notice that once I list those work orders out, there are those two work orders that I just had in the system we showed, and the system is automatically slotting those within the master production schedule, which we're at right now. So for any one of those work orders, not only can I take a look at the details, and I'll show you how we do that in a second, but more importantly, we can come out here and start to see how is that individual work center loaded for the week. And you can see that here on 3/14, we have that work order 409, and you notice we only have 8 hours available on our shop floor calendar. Thus, it's going to load that first work order into the system, consume that capacity. It's going to go to the second day, load the second part of that work order since it had a quantity of 10 on there, so we need 2 additional hours, and then just go down the line and then load the third work order, and based upon the schedule and the sequencing running. So the key value message here is we can go in there on a work center by work center basis, see how our work centers are loaded, find out where the problems are, and then go and solve the problems, whether we want to level load the schedule or reschedule any one of these work orders. So if we want to go ahead and we notice that we're in an overcapacity situation, to level load our schedule, it's a very easy process. All we do is we select one of those work orders. You're going to notice there's an edit work order button up at the top here. And this is key functionality within the advanced manufacturing module that the core manufacturing module does not give you today. And that key value message is it allows you to make the changes not only at the top level of the work order, so at the work order header level, I can reschedule this entire work order just by changing the planned start date. Or if I want to, I can come down. You'll also notice there's an edit operation status. I can go in there and reschedule on an operation by operation basis within the advanced manufacturing module. Okay, and like I mentioned, we also have off of this work order management screen, we do have the ability to go in there and then view the contents of those individual work orders. And if I want to do that, all I do is just select what work order I want to view. I hit the View Contents button. And then what this is going to do then is this will allow me to now view what are the operations that work order is going to go through, what is the total amount of runtime that work order is planned for, and then I can also come out here and see the material requirements on that individual work order. And you see that there's only one raw material on the bill of material. It's requiring a quantity of 10, and nothing has been committed to that individual work order, and we do have the correct quantity on hand. So, in a moment's notice, I can see not only the work order details, but also all of the information that is tied up with the bill of material, including what is my quantity on hand for that individual work order. Okay, so other pieces along the lines of our finite scheduling capabilities, I'm just going to go ahead. We also have the ability to schedule by different attributes within the system. And one of the attributes that I'm going to show you here is how do we schedule within the application by color or different attributes. So you'll notice that when I bring up this item within the item master record of NetSuite, there are these fields underneath the classification. You'll see there's a manufacturing class, so I can say I want to schedule by color, and I do have the ability to then go ahead and specify what is the product attribute for this particular item. And you'll notice that this is a product that needs to be painted gray. So what this allows us to do is by utilizing these sequencing attributes with advanced manufacturing, it allows you to go ahead and construct the schedule based upon those attributes. And I'll give you a real quick example of that. So if I want to go in and I want to see what work orders and what order do I need to release them, I can then come in there and specify again a horizon date. So we're going to give it for the following week. And then I can come in here and say, okay, show me all my work orders by that schedule code, which is color. And then my second sequencing on the schedule is not only do I want to see color first, but I also want to see it by due date. And then I can go in there, I can list out the work orders. The system will then show me those individual work orders, and notice that what it did was when it ran based upon the scheduling sequence, it took a look at all my work orders that had the color black, it needed to be painted black, and then what it did was it went to the gray items and then the white. So it went from the dark to light. So what this allows us to do is that the scheduling engine allows us to minimize our changeovers, sort of our clean in process, and then all of our setups. So another big added value message here of allowing you to schedule not only by color, but using the finite scheduling capabilities within the application. So that's the very first block. The second block I want to cover here is, the second strength is the rough cut capacity planning functions within advanced manufacturing. And really, in essence, this is reading off of a couple different setups within the application in order to produce a rough cut capacity plan. So if I just head into my manufacturing workbench, I pull this up real quick, you're going to notice that one of my individual items, which is my finished goods in here, I just want to pull up the shop floor calendar and show you where this information is coming from in order to build out my rough cut capacity plan. So not only can I do this at an item by item level, but I also have the ability to do this on a location by location basis. So if I go into my individual locations, and you'll notice there's my 9-mile plant, I can then come in here on top of that individual location, and I can come in there and then start to set up my work calendars, and also my number of resources are within each one of those work centers. So if you take a look at this, there was my work center, which is the T3 work center. Here's my shop floor calendar. So you'll notice that I'm working 5 8-hour shifts. And then my rough cut capacity plan parameters are, I have one person and then one individual resource, and then we're working 8 hours for 5 days. So if I come back to my rough cut capacity planning, the next piece to setting this up is going out there and constructing my plan before I can actually view this. So you'll notice one thing I want to key in on here. If we go ahead and set up these rough cut capacity plans, we do have the ability to come in here and construct these on 3 different levels. I can actually base my rough cut capacity plan on planned orders, sales orders, or the demand plan, which is coming out of core NetSuite. So once I run my rough cut capacity plan, you're going to notice it goes out, and for that horizon, which is 1/4 through 131, it goes out there and pulls in all of my planned work orders within the system, and it also will show you the quantity. And the 3 that I want you to key in on are these ones for FG002. You'll notice there's a quantity 100 right here on the 12th. There's another quantity of 10 also on the 12th. And then if I pop down, you'll also notice that there was a quantity of 10 on 1/8. So if we go back to that and mention that, we can do 1 piece per hour, you're taking a look at, right now, my capacity level should be 120 hours. So I can then go out there and run the rough cut capacity planning report and then see what is the output and see where my problems are, where are my capacity planning problems, how do I need to level load my schedule, and so on. So I can then go in there for my capacity plan that I constructed, which is that T3 test plan, and then I can just run this report and then see how is my capacity plan shaping up. So you're going to notice that once I run this capacity plan for that assembly T3, there's my 120 units I had planned across those 3 different work orders for that individual work center. And you'll notice that my labor hours I have available are 160. So I have 4 weeks, so 40 hours per week. So right now, if I go ahead and run those work orders, I'm in good shape because I'm only at 75% capacity on my rough cut capacity plan. So couple different views. So like I mentioned, we can go in there, take a look at the rough cut capacity plan, see how we're loaded. We may want to go back to that scheduling view I just showed you and edit some of those work orders if we're in an overcapacity situation and streamline that. Okay, so the next area that I want to focus in on is the shop floor execution pieces. And like I mentioned, there's a couple different ways that we can get these transactions into the application using the advanced manufacturing module. So one of the first things I want to show you here is we do have the ability to come in here for an individual work order. Okay, so we have work order 706 within the application. You're going to notice that's for a quantity of 100. So we do have the ability to come out and use the tablet data entry function. So when you open this up, what this is going to do is it's going to bring you into the tablet order entry on any one of these work orders. And you can then go in, take a look at your list of your work orders for any one of these individual work orders. So if you notice, we have work order 706, which we were just at. It'll appear in our dispatch list within our work queue. And then if we want to start doing the shop floor transactions against that work order, it's a very easy process. You'll notice there's the 2 operation steps. So if I want to start working on operation number 10 and then start posting transactions against that, I can just touch the screen or click on it. It'll take me directly into the first operation, which is operation 10, which is SAW. Right from here, one of the first things I can do is I can then go in the order. So first thing I may need to do is do a material issue against that work order. So if I come in, what this is going to do is it's going to list all the items on the bill of material structure. If I want to go ahead and issue that plywood, I just touch the screen or click on it. It'll automatically bring that in. And then the next thing I need to do here is just specify what is the quantity that we're going to issue to that work order. So if there's a quantity of 10, all we're going to do is go ahead, click OK, and then we'll save that transaction. And then I'm going to take you back into the work order and show you how this is real time. So as the transactions are happening out on the shop floor using the tablet data entry, if I go back to this work order and I just refresh this real quick, and I drop down into the bill of material structure, once we refresh this, you'll now notice that it has now taken that quantity of 10 and then posted it directly to that work order for the plywood. So like I mentioned, the transactions are very easy to get into the system. We'll just do one more here to show you. So if I want to come over here and I want to post any downtime transactions, I can also do my labor transactions, so the amount of time that I've actually used on that work order. I can also process any scrap transactions against that operation and that work order. And I can also come in there and then give what is the total amount of production time and then what is the quantity we completed against that work order. So we'll do one more quick transaction here just so everyone gets a flavor for how easy this is to use. So for instance, if I'm out there and I happen to notice that, about halfway through the machine breaks down, it's going to ask us, what time did the breakdown occur? How many minutes was that particular machine down for? It'll ask us what is the category code. The reason why it's asking us for the category code, it's actually building our reporting and all of our reporting metrics behind the scenes. So we'll say that this was a breakdown, and then what is the particular reason for the breakdown? Just obviously it was a machine breakdown. We can also specify if it was an individual asset within that work center, and then what is the employee that's posting the downtime metrics. So once I click on this, we can go ahead and save that and then post that directly back to the work order, much like we did with the material issue. So once again, if I go back to the work order, you'll now notice that all of those transactions, if we refresh this one more time, all those individual transactions are going to wind up underneath this iQity production data subtab of the application. And you'll now notice that right here, I now have that downtime posted. So there's the 20 minutes that we just posted to the work order. So once again, all the transactions are in real time, and we also have the ability to report upon them once they're in the application. So the other way that you can do this is not only can you use the tablet functionality to post the transactions, but there also is barcoding scanning functionality within the advanced manufacturing application. So if I'll come down, I'll just take you through that real quick and give you a flavor for how we post those transactions. So we'll go ahead and we'll log into the scanner. And you'll now notice underneath the scanning functions, we do have the ability to process the manufacturing actions. I'll take you there in a second. There is the express production. So if we don't want to go operation by operation within the application, we can just very quickly say, hey, we've completed this work order. What was the total amount that we've completed off that work order? So very quickly allow you to do that. We also have the inventory actions within the scanner. So if you're doing receiving transactions, if you are doing bin transfers, that can also all be managed directly within here. Also, just to point out, you can also do the shipping transactions, and we also have the ability to generate a license plate number for any of our particular items that may go on a pallet or require a license plate. So let's just go in. We'll do the manufacturing actions against a particular work order. So I have a scanner hooked up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and scan the work order into the system. It's going to ask us not only what work order we're working on, but what is the operation. So we're going to give the work order and the operation. Once we're in there, then we have a whole set of transactions that we can process against that work order, much like we did on the tablet. And you'll see here in a second that we do have the ability to process, not only record the production, record downtime, we do have the ability to record quality control transactions, issue material. So if I want to go in, much like we did on the tablet, I want to issue material directly to that work order. We can then go in there, specify what is the raw material that we're issuing to the work order. And then also not only what is the location that we're pulling that out of, but also what is the correct quantity. So we can come in here, just barcode all these transactions and do this. Once we have it in there, we can go ahead and save the transaction. Much like we did on the tablet side, once those transactions are in, it'll drive it directly back to that work order. We can go into that iAcuity production or advanced manufacturing sub-tab and see those transactions populated directly from within there. Okay, so that's the scanner functionality and the ability to transact against those. One last thing I want to show you is once we have those transactions back into the system, this is very key. So we can then go into any one of those work orders, and like I said, you can pull those transactions up, but more importantly, what this is going to do is it's building and telling you how efficient you were on manufacturing that particular work order. So if we come down underneath the iAcuity Production Data tab one last time, we hit the Production Results sub-tab. You're going to notice down underneath there, it'll show us the transaction that we just processed. But more importantly, you're going to notice here on the very end, it is telling us how efficient we were in producing this individual work order. So right now, we actually did pretty well on this. We were about 97% efficient. We actually went over by about 10 hours of what we should have done this work order. It actually required 480 hours, and we processed and posted 490 hours to this one operation, thus making us about 97% efficient. Okay, so those are the couple of different views. Two last areas here that I want to cover. The fourth area that advanced manufacturing does really well is the embedded quality control within the application. And like I mentioned earlier, not only do we handle in-process quality control, but we also handle the receiving quality control. And this is all done within the advanced manufacturing, the setup. You do have the ability to go in there and specify what type of quality control test is it. We'll just do a quick list on this so you can get an idea of these two individual ones we have set up in there. So the very first one that you'll notice I have in there is this finished good defect check. That is a WIP inspection, so that's an in-process inspection. You also notice I also have in here receiving inspection. So this package condition, which is the next one down, is a receiving inspection within the application. And the way this works is, so if I just open one of these up, let's go ahead and open up this finished good defect check to show you. You can then go in there and make these either pass and fail type tests or require target values for these individual tests. So you'll notice on this finished good defect test, the target value is 100, the lower control limit is 90, and the upper control limit is 100. So if we go in for any one of the individual work orders within the application, so if I'm working off the dispatch list, I can pull this work order up. I can go just very quickly go up to global search, pull up that work order. Once I have the work order in there, you're going to notice on this iAcuity Production Data sub-tab, I have the ability to go in there and specify what is the quality control test I want to go ahead and process against. So I can go in there, just click on the Results tab. It'll open up that quality collection plan. It automatically pre-populates a lot of the data for you. We already know that it's the finished good on the work order. But more importantly, it's going to come in here and then specify, what is the individual test that we want to process against this individual work order. And then we can go in there and process what was the amount that was passed, fail, all those individual steps directly off of this. So not only can we do the in-process quality control pieces, but more importantly, we also can do the receiving piece, like I mentioned. And in order, if we want to process any of the quality control transactions against a purchase order, we can then go in there and just say, hey, we're going to go ahead and pull up purchase order 1374, or scan it or barcode it, whatever way we want to get that into the system. It's then going to ask us what is the item that we're doing the receiving inspection against. And then you'll notice down below here, I have the individual tests that we can pull up. And there's that one that we had, which was a receiving test, which was the package condition. And then we can go in there and process all of the individual information against that quality control test. Okay, so what's really nice is once I have all the transactions in, I want to take you in and show you some of the reporting pieces and then hit the last area, which is the embedded business intelligence of advanced manufacturing. So if we go in and we'll just take a look at these individual pieces and just give you a good idea of what the reports look like and what information I can get out of the system. One of the first ones I want to key in on is if I want to go in and I want to take a look at all the inspection results against all of my individual work orders, I have the ability to go in there, and you'll notice there's the two work orders that we've processed, 407 and 420, and you can see what was the quantity tested, what was the quantity passed, and then right now we're at 50% tested across that. So we have a good ways to go still. We have about 50% more of these items we have to test across this work order. We also can come in here and then see what was the detailed results of each one of those individual inspection results in manufacturing. So again, here's that work order 420. We can then go in there and see that, you know, the quantity tested was 10, there was 5, thus we see again the 50%. And then we can also see what is the test value that was put in against that individual quality control plan. So you notice that that test value, remember the upper limit was 100 and our lower limit was 90, and then our target value was 100. So this one actually failed inspection, and the reason why it failed inspection was it was too short. It was below the lower level or the target value. We also have the ability to graph and do Pareto charts against any of that information. So what you're taking a look at right now is if we run this against our WIP inspection results, all of our individual results within the application, you'll notice that most of our problems are that the product is too short. So it's below the lower test value. So again, we have the charting and graphing capabilities. We can see that off of any of this information we're collecting off the quality collection results or the reports. So not only can we see that for the in-process pieces, but we also have the ability to run these individual reports for any of the receiving transactions. So you notice here's the purchase order that we keyed in on, which was 1374. It also tracks and captures all those results for reporting purposes also from a receiving standpoint. Just real quick, some of the other reports that you have the ability of getting out of the system, there are the ability to take a look at a material shortage report. So if we're getting ready to go ahead and process any of the work orders within the system, if I want to see what work orders I have a material shortage on, as opposed to going in on a work order by work order basis, I can run this report. The ones that are in red are the most critical shortages of the raw materials that we have against particular work orders. And you can see these work orders from 317 all the way down to 421 are requiring different materials, and we have different shortages against those individual work orders. And then last but not least, we can go in there and see, you know, what is a daily plan and then what are the results against each one of those individual work orders. So we can see the work orders, we can see what was required against those work orders, and then, you know, how far along are we on each one of those individual work orders within the application. And then much like we processed the downtime, there are downtime reports. So if you want to start building continuous improvement loops within the application, you want to find out, okay, where are we falling down? Where are we seeing the most downtime with our work orders? You do have the ability to run these downtime reports. So it'll show you all the individual work orders with downtime across those with the amount of minutes. So not only can I get the raw report data, but also, again, if I want to do a Pareto chart against those individual downtime reasons, I can then go in there and just do the graphing capabilities, and you'll see that a majority of our downtime was machine breakdown, all the way down to standard setup and late maintenance, et cetera, on any one of those individual pieces. So just to sort of summarize before I turn this back over to Mark here in a second, we've gone through the 5 core strengths of the advanced manufacturing application, starting off with finite scheduling. We've taken you through the rough cut capacity planning piece. We've showed you how we can do the shop floor execution out on the shop floor, getting the transactions in not only using the barcode scanner, but the tablet functionality. We've shown you the embedded quality control, not only from the in-process, but the receiving pieces, along with the business intelligence to not only report against the production results, but also against the quality control transactions within the application. So, Mark, with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to you, if that's okay.
Sure. Thanks, John. Great job. Okay, so yeah, we just wanted to wrap up then after John's demo there with a couple examples of NetSuite customers who are using our manufacturing solution and some of the success they've been able to achieve with it. So the first one I wanted to highlight is a company called Liberty Bottle Works. So Liberty Bottle Works is the only produces the only American-made recycled metal water bottle. So these are you can buy these at retail, but also they're very popular with corporate custom giveaways and those sorts of things. So this company started up in 2010, and so what they were really looking for with NetSuite was a cost-effective cloud ERP solution that they could deploy rapidly, but that could that they were comfortable with, that would be able to scale as they grew. So and grow they have. So you see here they've actually grown production fourfold over a 4-year period, including 1 year where they grew revenue 135%. So the quote here, they love NetSuite and feel that it does an amazing job tracking and managing their inventory and enabling them to run their business in an efficient manner. Another thing that's interesting about Liberty Bottle Works is they use the embedded e-commerce solution that I referred to earlier. So if you go to the Liberty Bottle Works website and shop for and order bottles there, that's the NetSuite Commerce platform that's, again, fully embedded with the ERP and the manufacturing parts of NetSuite as well. So that's Liberty Bottle Works. Another example is CMP Corporation. So this company was not a startup. They were actually an established business. They're the world's largest independent manufacturer of aftermarket compressor parts. And so they've been around a long time, and their issue was they were really being challenged cost-wise from offshore manufacturers, so intense, cost reduction pressure. They kind of distinguished themselves on quality, and so they didn't want to cut quality to lower the cost of the product. So what they decided to do was to embark on a lean manufacturing initiative and selected NetSuite to help them support and enable that transformation to lean manufacturing. So both supporting them operationally with lean as well as from a lean IT standpoint, being able to reduce cost and improve efficiency within the IT organization. So you can see here some of the amazing results, both operationally and from an IT efficiency standpoint, that they have achieved and been able to remain competitive using NetSuite. And then finally, Shaw Flooring, which is probably a household name, the leading producer of carpet. And so they chose NetSuite for yet a different reason from the first two examples I've shown. They were getting ready to grow and expand and open a China facility, a manufacturing facility in China. And so they didn't feel that an on-premise ERP and manufacturing solution was going to be able to be deployed quickly enough or cost-effectively enough for them to roll out this Chinese facility. And so they chose NetSuite, again, to be able to enter the market very quickly and rapidly in China while still having support for multi-currency, multi-language, as well as the manufacturing functionality that they needed to get that facility up and running. So they're now running that facility as well as 10 international subsidiaries within NetSuite. So just 3 examples of different types of customers that selected NetSuite for different reasons, and and are having success using NetSuite to support their manufacturing operations. So that being said, I think we are ready for the Q&A portion here of the webinar. So I see quite a few questions queued up here. So I don't know that we're going to get to all of these, but let me make a scan through here. And so, John, I'll probably throw a few of these your way and
Sure.
answer a few of them myself as well. So first, a question about the NetSuite customer base. Are they more process or discrete, make to order, make to stock? I guess I'd say yes, all the above. We have a nice mix of both discrete manufacturing as well as what I'd kind of call batch process manufacturing in both make to stock and make to order environments. John, if you have anything to add, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to scroll through the list here.
No, I think you hit the heart of that one.
Yeah, so around scheduling, John, a few of them here. Can we override planned start and end times on work orders after they've been scheduled by the scheduling system?
Yeah, you can. All you have to do is just go in, much like you do in core NetSuite, just edit the work order and go down and change the entered planned start time or the end time, depending on your scheduling method, whether you're doing forward or backward scheduling. The other way you can do that also is, like I showed on the, when you go in and edit the work order, you can also change the planned start and end time also, either at the work order level or at the operation level.
Okay, thanks, John. Continuing on the scheduling theme, the calendar view that you showed, how far out can we look in the calendar view?
There was a horizon start date and an end date, so you could go probably either a week-by-week basis or you could go a whole month basis. I think I had that queued up originally. I think when we were taking a look at that for a whole month in January, when we had it from like 1/4 through 1/25, but you can take it for different time horizons.
Okay, thanks. There looks like there's a couple here. I can answer this one, I think, John. A couple here related to, you showed detailed scheduling, but what about, a higher level material plan, demand planning, MRP type functionality? And so, yes, absolutely. We have that in core NetSuite, demand and supply planning. And so, where John kind of picked things up with advanced manufacturing is at a more detailed, work order operation by operation type scheduling, but we absolutely have demand planning, forecasting, MRP type supply planning within the NetSuite product. So, John, around the downtime reporting, and maybe you saw this and I missed it, but there was a question around reason codes and or any kind of textual notes around reasons for the downtime.
Yeah, on the downtime, one thing I didn't get a chance to show was you do have the ability to set up user-defined downtime reason codes. Those will then appear in the drop-down either on the tablet or the scanner. I think the spirit of the question from Eric was, do you have the ability, once you do that, do you have the ability to give a more detailed explanation maybe in notes? You do have the ability to add those, Eric, through either one of those two, and then just by adding probably a custom field to either one of the records and then exposing that, and then, just having someone go in there and put the notes in.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, John. Question about, is there available to promise at sales order entry? Yes, there is available to promise functionality at sales order entry. So you can scan, current inventory position as well as, planned resupply orders, be they, purchase orders or manufacturing orders, depending on the type of part that you're ordering, to see what's in the schedule and when products might be available. John, are you actually looking through the Q&A window there as well, it sounds like?
Yeah, I'm taking a look as you're going along. So
I'm going to refresh my screen here. So if there's any that you want to take off, I've got a few more, I think. But just let me do another scan here because a whole bunch have been added since I took some notes. Okay.
Yeah, you want me to field a few of these, or got them
no,
okay?
I got a couple queued up. So around defining the QC tests, is there the ability to define, certain tests that need to be done by part number? So, for example, every time I receive a certain part number, I need to do a certain test, and how do I define the details or the procedure of how to perform the test?
Yeah, one thing I didn't get a chance to show, there is the ability to set up an inspection profile within the application, which is done by an item-by-item basis. And the inspection profile, what it allows you to do is it allows you to specify what tests need to be performed for that particular item. And then, Mark, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the second part of that question, so I can answer it for you.
Yeah, so if there's a testing procedure or document or some steps or notes about how to perform the test, is there a way to define that as part of the test definition?
What's really nice about those quality entry forms, I mean, they are, able to customize any of the forms within NetSuite. So, depending on how much information you want to collect on any one of your quality collection plans, it could be, as detailed as, give me all the notes, give me all the information, or something as simple as pass, fail, and then just what are the results against those target values. And as everybody may know, they may not know, once that information is within the system, we can pull that out and report against it.
All right, thanks, John. There's one, in scheduling, can there be lag time between operations? And the answer to that is yes. We actually can support a couple different types of lag, start a certain period of time after the end of a previous operation, start a certain amount of time after the start of a previous operation, that type of logic. John, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but there's several questions around, what types of tablets or scanners or devices we support. We may need to follow up with that. I don't know if you happen to know off the top of your head.
I don't. I'd like to probably be specific and not shoot from the hip on that one and get it wrong.
Yep.
So,
me neither. So, but thought I'd ask. And folks, there are several questions here that if I don't read them out, it's partly because there's a whole bunch of questions that we can't get to, but also some like that where I think John and I would probably like to follow up with you just to get a little clarification before we answer them. John, can you talk a little bit about, just kind of a general question, but how we support serial number tracking and assigning of serial numbers?
Yeah, when you set the item up within NetSuite, you do have the ability to put them into different categories. And what I mean by categories is when you set an item up within NetSuite, it's going to ask you, is it an assembly bill of material type item? And then is that assembly bill of material item either lot or serial tracked? So there's three different ways you can set assembly BOM type items up. You also have inventory type items, which may not have a bill of material or routing associated with those. And then your options below that inventory item, do we want to lot or serial track it? So once you set that up, the lot and serial tracking is done on a couple different transactions. So for instance, a great example is if I'm doing a sales order and I'm doing a fulfillment, when I do the item fulfillment record or the item shipment record within NetSuite, it's going to ask us, what item, with what particular lot number associated with it are we shipping out. If it's serial controlled, we'll ship that out also. We do the lot and serial tracking cradle to grave very well within NetSuite. So you do have the ability to specify, if there's a particular lot number I shipped out, I want to see who did that lot number go out to, what customers have it. If there's any sort of recall issues or problems with that, you do have the ability to do that lot serial tracking, plug that lot number or serial number in, and it'll show you what transaction it shipped out on, along with what customer went out on.
All right, thanks, John. Okay. Sorry, just kind of, there's a few more that got added here. Support lot inventory issue. Yeah, you just mentioned lot, and yes, we can support barcodes on the lot inventory items. There was a question about supporting barcodes with lot controlled inventory. Okay. I think that's probably, I think the rest of these we'd like to follow up with you, so we'll have a note here of who asked which question, and John and I will probably just ask for a little clarification as to the intent of the question and get back to you with a personalized response after the webinar here. And that kind of brings us up to our hour. So I'm going to wrap things up there. And once again, thank everyone for spending the last hour with us as we discussed NetSuite for manufacturing and demonstrated the advanced manufacturing capabilities within NetSuite. If you'd like more information about NetSuite for manufacturing, certainly one way to do that is the website. So netsuite.com/manufacturing will take you to the manufacturing landing page of our website. And some of the customers I talked about, there's recorded videos out there of their NetSuite stories, as well as data sheets and collateral and that sort of information. So once again, thanks for spending the last hour with John and I, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.